Alright, so I've seen a whole bunch of videos and read up a whole lot online. There's a whole list of stuff, most of which I've done. I have a 2004 GMC Yukon, and at idle, it's doing this little stutter. Like it'll drop, 50, 100 RPMs, and you'll feel it like kind of shake in the truck. So I'm rooting around with it. Clean your intake, your throttle body, make sure you've got, there's a little, up in the top left corner, if you're looking at the open hole with the butterfly valve, just up left is the idle air port. That way the butterfly is closed, air still goes in, truck idle. So I made sure that was clean and clear. It was. I cleaned out the intake and everything a while back. I threw a bunch of carb cleaner back in it again just to be sure. And so they're saying, fuel pressure sensor. I've replaced the last 6 months. I've replaced that. I've done the vacuum solenoid right here on top. It was stupid easy. I replaced this vacuum solenoid. I did the fuel pressure sensor. Dropped the tank. Did that. I have cleaned out the intake. I've cleaned out the throttle body. I've checked everything. I've got, again, recently I've done plugs, wires, crank position sensor, just cause I'm over 250,000 miles. So like I'm little secondary parts I'm replacing. So I've done all that. And then another guy, I was like, hey, he said just what I needed. Let's do in a stutter. He described it just perfectly, just sitting there in drive at idle. It'll do it a little bit in park or neutral, but mostly like at a stoplight or stop sign, in drive, just stop. It'll you'll see the tack kind of and it'll go doom, 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 like a few times in a row sometimes. And he described it. He said, this thing here, check it, make sure everything's nice and tight, make sure everything's sealed up. And he had a little bit newer model, had a different little piece that kind of sat under here or right up here that came off of this. So where it cracked, it split, and he sealed it up, and the stutter went away. So I'm like, hell yeah, I found it. Pulled that off. It's fine. No cracks, no holes, nothing. Everything's tight. And I just pulled it off again. Yeah, everything's good. So he was like, oh, check vacuum lines. There ain't a whole lot of vacuum lines. Oh, check by the brake booster. So I'm checking this one. It's not a standard. It's one of the other ones. But this just comes off of the power steering. Like, it's good, nothing's cracked, it's solid, it's fine. And I checked my fuel pressure regulator, which is basically you start it up, you run it, you pull this off. Right? You let it. You can either hold your finger on it to shut it up, or just let it sit. Doesn't matter. And you wait. You give it at least 5 minutes, because sometimes it'll take 2 or 3 minutes, maybe 4. And you check it, let it run. If it's bad, it's got a little tear or something, it'll spit some fuel out. I let it run for like 8 minutes dry. So it wasn't the fuel pressure regulator. I did look back here, and this looked pretty good. That right there, that vacuum line comes up, and it comes off right on the top of the throttle, or the intake. That little piece of hose at the bottom there that's new. There was one with a little bend in it, and that bend, it looked good. It was hard, and it was a little bit like loose. It wasn't sitting quite tight. And what I did is I pulled it off just to check it, and just on the inside there's that crack. So I think that might have fixed my stutter, because it's vacuum stuff. Like, I can't find anything else wrong with it. I'm going to move on to some other maintenance I got to do. But just to throw it out there, that is the checklist. Skip to the end. TLDR. You want to make sure this is all clean inside. You want to make sure this is clean. The air intake is clean. Make sure all your vacuum lines are good. Make sure that vacuum line is the one that was bad for me. Make sure, between your math and your throttle body, this whole thing, you pull it out, you put it back, doing maintenance. No cracks, no holes, no air leaks. That way the math is getting all the sensory. It doesn't count anything coming in from any sides anywhere. You make sure you're not cracked. Make sure you're nice and tight and sealed. Anyway, hope that was helpful. That's all I got. See ya.